Okay, fucking phone being stupid. There we go. There we go. Sweet. There we go. Ooh. Let's see. Put this little bad boy in. Ugh. Sweet. Oh my goodness gracious. Take this real quick. Where is the... Because I can reply to a message here real quick. Just by doing this. Here we go. Absolutely. There we go. There we go. I like the ability to be able to send messages sometimes when there are a notification. Because then I don't have to necessarily stop and I can just kind of like... Looks a little awkward with doing it, but whatever. Whatever. It works. Warms coffee in there. Get this up freshly loaded up. There we go. Make sure this thing. Okay, cool. Good. What, bro? Just because you want food, even though you got food in your bowl. Let me fill up this little food bowl really quick. That little gets taco for foods. There we go. There you go, little pup. Ooh. Now he's got some food. The last little bit on the food bowl, but you'll just get it. And you'll get more food tonight. Let's get off work once that happens. Which, all in all, hopefully ends up being a chill day today. It'll be a Thursday after all, so yeah, should be okay. Should be a chill day. I don't get what he wants. Does he want outside? But does he want to go to the back porch? That's bruh. Oh my god, really? I have this fucking garage door open for him so he can go outside that way. And he wants to go out for the back porch specifically instead. Fucking weirdo, bro. What a weird ass dog. Dios mío. Dios mío. Hello. Some things like job here for a day. I actually kind of tune in some news today a little bit before I started the stream. But before I do that, I'm going to do this real quick here. Just give me one momento. One little momento, of course. Right. There we go. Cool. Is there any little napkins? Yes, there is. Okay. Good. I'm gonna try to open these fuckers up because my nose, dude. Oh my god. Ugh. Goddamn, bro. Ugh. Ooh. But, kind of delve into a little bit of news and stuff. I saw a Kyle Kalinske video. And actually, I was just kind of checking up on a couple of his little videos, and didn't watch all of them in their totality. Just kind of skimmed through a lot of them. But I was kind of surprised. Well, not really super surprised, but kind of find it peculiar that Iran just recently put out a proposal to put out a new nuclear deal agreement with the United States. Whilst in the middle of all that, Israel's continuously trying to egg on the United States and to a whole global fucking conflict war with Iran and shit. And despite that, Iran's still taking the higher ground with this type of shit, which I kind of find hilarious. Because it just kind of shows who's the escalator in the region and who's the fundamental provocateur ultimately in this in the region, which shocker is Israel. Because Iran's trying to pretty much take any decision or any opportunity, especially on the global stage, to be hey, we're not the aggressor here. And honestly, I even put into question whether they're fucking arming or giving weapons to fucking these other groups and shit. Hezbollah maybe, But like Hamas and all these other groups, fuck now, dude. Like I honestly have very high doubts, when it comes to that type of shit. At least as it stands now. Maybe at one point, but at this rate, I fucking doubt it. Why would Iran, want to jeopardize, like any other fucking like national standing, that they have, when it comes to this shit? They're already, don't have like a very positive light, especially towards the West. So why make it worse? So, I mean, they're kind of honestly doing like, some kind of smart power moves a little bit. And if anything, especially when it comes to Kamala, she has an opportunity, I think, to like kind of at least build a little bridge and kind of fuck Israel off a little bit. It's like, and let Israel know to be like, and Netanyahu now and say, no, if you continue to escalate from here on out, like it's one thing to, to give you funds and weapons and shit, but it's another thing to literally drag us into a fucking war and continue to have this, constant escalation, and expect us to back you up every step of the way. Like that, I think would at least be a better position than what we're doing now. Like where there's at least, a cutoff point, but even then, I highly fucking doubt that would be the case. Because, I mean, Kamala seems like, honestly, a lot of the momentum that she was having here for a while is starting to slip, because now I think the true colors of her, administration are starting to show. She pretty much just like, this is another Kyle video I saw the same day, which is earlier today, where she's essentially, it's like, like the Biden administration has endorsed, the idea of Trump, border wall policies. So, not surprised by that. And there's been a bunch of like alumni and former H.W. George W. Bush era and McCain, fucking Republicans that have like hundreds of them that have endorsed her. So that's another fucking red flag. Which I guess, for that, there could be two reasons for it. Either they're just doing it strictly for anti-Trump positioning, or they actually do like her and they, endorse some of her policies. And arguably both. You went to you went live last night as I went to bed around 3 a.m. Yeah, I was hanging out with my friend Logan for, all night last night. Like playing pool and stuff like that, but it ended up being like longer than I expected. But I was like, well, I have, another brewski, like got some glizzies, so I'm just gonna like have, this brew, some more bud until I'm like to the point where I'm starving for glizzies. So it wasn't, really meant to be that long of a stream anyway. And of course, it won't be super long today either. Like an hour. Weird how YouTube is the same on streams. They do. They're just private. They save them automatically as private for some reason, so I have to go back and edit it and make it public. So I just didn't do that yet. YouTube's a little weird like that. I think there's like a setting that I can go into and just make them public. Oh, dumb. I know it is a little dumb. But whatever. Ain't that big of a deal. What the fuck is your deal, dog? He's been a boofy boy today. Hey, dog, why do we just zook off? Yeah, why do we just, like, zook off, bro? I know what you, bro. At least, like, close back forces. I know he's not outside anymore. Big fruit move. What do you want? Get your ass in here. You just want attention. I think you just want to see attention. goofball. Pups do a lot of attention. He really does. He definitely is a little ball of attention-seeking adorableness. I definitely need to see what my funds are, and I might just say fucking and just get another fun ball already because this is starting to drive me nuts. Come on, bitch. Let me do this. Kind of like. Microphone got wet. Yeah, it got waterlogged, and then it completely like shut down entirely for a while. But then it eventually, got itself fixed up, outside of the mic. But now I'm just procrastinating on testing it. We're talking about bong. Yeah, I mean it's fine. I actually dropped it earlier accidentally by bumping into it, and so it's fine, But it's one of those things, and honestly, it's an okay piece or whatever. But it's just like this little bowl, dude. Could be helpful waiting, let it dry out more. Yeah. Honestly, that's my kind of theory about it. Like if there is anything to procrastinate, is letting this thing just chill after its little alcohol dip. Should be fine, because then whatever little like alcohol is left is vaporized off and shit for sure. Which that I'm not even worried about. But any other little bit and pieces of shit in there should be loosened out to the point where it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm not really like too worried about it. There we go. Load that up. Come on. Get in there, bitch. There we go. All right. Oh, there we go. Cool. Get this another little bad boy smoked out. We kind of get into little bits of news I was kind of dipping into for today before I started off this thing. Figured I've been a little out of the loop with a lot of different things, so I figured I'd take a little burst of news before I started this to be like, all right, what the fuck's been going on? What's been going on the past week or something? And there honestly has been some shit that I've been missing. Because I guess outside of RFK Jr., I found out that Tulsi Gabbard also, decided to, endorse Trump and, follow his ass now. Which, I don't know what the fuck she's expecting, to get out of that. But I find that not really too surprising. I guess, like, she never really made a I left the left or left the progressives or left the Democrat kind of arc, or like a video or anything. But honestly, it's just like, I do find it kind of hilarious that she pretty much attempted to to masquerade as a progressive for a while. And pretty much the only reason why anyone was into her is because she was hot, basically. And then, she slowly but surely released her true colors, and end up just being a Republican shithead. Shocker. I don't expect much change. Yeah, the only thing I like, I mean, because outside of like Jimmy Dore type of like weirdos, like who the fuck cares about Tulsi Gabbard anymore? You know what I mean? Like who gives a shit about her? At least for RFK, I can understand maybe, scalping RFK voters and shit, because honestly, in theory, like if he was still in the race, he more than likely would have scalped votes from him, as a third party, saboteur for him. But so I can honestly legit understand why, Trump and RFK ended up working together. Because like, most people supporting RFK are mostly going to be like assertive leaning or like libertarian style centrists or whatever the fuck. And they're a lot more likely than not going to probably vote for Trump if it wasn't for him. Or just abstain from it. But if RFK has endorsed him, they're probably more likely to do that. I mean, probably not. I mean, but at least I can get that. And honestly, I think that's more realistic. If you're a conservative going to vote for RFK, how many of those hate Trump and just won't vote for either one? Probably a decent amount. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, a lot of them, didn't like Trump, but kind of wanted to have at least, some like Americana, like enlightened triangularization centrist kind of appeal, which RFK did kind of hit that a little bit. Just more of a conservative Republican leaning style of it. And, like and with that, a lot of like more moderately conservatives will see an appeal to that, because even if they might disagree with certain things about him, which honestly I don't know what, outside of maybe like some climate shit, but even then he's fucking trash on that anyway. He's pretty like free market capitalist, about that shit too. I guess albeit maybe a little bit more open to like free market expansion and green energy shits, but whatever, it basically means fuck off. But so it's like, even then, it's like I don't really see it being like too much of like a turnoff, for a lot of moderate conservatives or like centrist, independent conservative leaning types, to appeal to him. While like just maybe like because my thing is like I'm sure a lot of those people back in 2015 voted for Trump, and maybe in 2020 there's a chance that a lot of them maybe didn't, so they're like the types where it's almost like vibes based kind of shit. They're doing it for like the vibes. RFK and Trump can't dial down the crazy to get more support if they could. Yeah, Trump's craziness comes from a lot of his supporters, I think, while RFK just comes from him. Dude, that recent story about him having a fucking beheaded, like, whale head, like, in his fucking car just so he could keep the skull or some shit is fucking wild, dude. Like, I mean, like, what in, like, it's like, what in the fucking, like, Inuit, whale and fuck is going on with that? Like, what the fuck, bro? But RFK has always been a wackadoodle. Yeah, RFK always has. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong at all. I mean, it's just when it comes to the broader, like, Trump MAGA sphere of crazy, his supporters are fucking insane. like, legitimately. I mean, so, like, at least with, like, with Trump, yeah, he's been getting crazier and crazier, but even his own staff and administration are pretty much like, well, not administration, but, I guess, yeah, I mean, near the end of his tenure, they had to, like, start treating him like a little baby. Like, and there's been a lot of leaks where they're literally having to treat him like Tyler, because if not, he'll go into literal fucking conniption fits. So it's like a lot of the, shit that he, like, a lot of his actions are pretty much just literal irrational and erratic decision making that he's doing. Like, I mean, he's honestly, like, he's in like the level of decline to where it's actually kind of spooky in a way, because he's now at a point where I think he's actually kind of detached from reality, like, legitimately. Like I said, I didn't watch it, but I did see a Kyle headline, from one of his videos. I don't know if he uploaded today or if it was yesterday, but it was just like, it was kind of talking about this with, basically Trump, like, claiming God has chosen him, and, nothing's going to get in his way and shit, stuff like that. And it's pretty much been doing pretty much literally anything he can to potentially try to win the election. I mean, so, and also like working with the Republicans in different states too. So it's one of those things where it's like, he's fucking insane and desperate. But I think honestly, because of that, that's also just going to be his own downfall. But the problem is his supporters. That's what I'm freaked out about, because they're not going to give a fuck. I mean, it's like we already have seen how unhinged they were, about, just about like, 2020 and shit, right? Like, I'd imagine how they're going to be now. Granted, less of them, I would argue. I don't think he's had the same level of like quantity and support like he used to, but at least when it comes to his core base, but they're like more unhinged than ever. And they're the ones that I kind of freak out about a little bit, because they're the ones who are always clamming up about vigilantism, cleaning the streets up and shit, and like having, like just basically free walking around with fucking guns everywhere just so they can, be like wannabe cowboy motherfuckers or some shit. It's like they're the ones that I kind of honestly have, genuine concerns about. Like, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, I have Trump supporter derangement syndrome. And I didn't coin that, TJ Kirk, and I'm taking it because he has the same feelings too. Like, I mean, he's not really worried about Trump necessarily, because, even let's say hypothetically he did, when he, frankly, because of his position and his demeanor and his mental state, chances are he will probably die at some point in his term just due to stress or a heart attack or something like that. Or, he would basically just be a lame duck in a way, because his administration and everyone else around him would be taking over while they just yes man him with shit, but they just do shit behind his back. Kind of like what they did with Fred Trump near the end of his life, right? Like, set up a little office, just have blank piece of paper, just random bullshit, or just random doodles, scribbling, just random jibble jabble, and just let him sign stuff, random shit like that. And then then basically just let the VP take over, which, oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, that'd be Vance then, but I don't think, it would be good either way. But honestly, I think Vance is going to play ball, you know what I mean? Like, he's not, like, especially because no one likes him, even his own party. Like, I think he would have to, he wants to try to have something to prove. And you know what? I think that's a valid reason to kind of fuck Trump off in the Oval Office and just yes man him with shit and just go for the motions, and just do that and just let Vance take control. Like, I mean, or at least, behind the scenes and not officially, like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, well, okay. Okay, YouTube just had a little freak out moment. Jeez. Let's be able to see a chat on your stream so I can see what's not getting through. Well, I do too, honestly, but I do have a way to go on live chat instead of top chat, which actually, let me do that really quick. Because, that should at least give me most of what goes through. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, what are you going to do? What's also funny is that Venom was like hitting me up incessantly like 40 minutes ago about, and I even shared this to him and he's not even here. It's like, bro, what were you even hitting me up for if like you're not even here hanging out? I was like, what did you bastards? Well, come on, man. Yeah. So you put rubbing alcohol on your phone with a mix of water in there and make it evaporate faster. If so, that's kind of brilliant. Well, from what Rip City said, the 99% ibuprofen alcohol will basically, it like, will bind with, different things like water and stuff and pretty much like, separate it from, like, and also like water stain residue and stuff and kind of like separate it from, what is getting in the way of the mic itself and shit. So letting it sit in there eventually will like kind of disperse the water out and kind of like force it out, basically. I love the idea so much. Yeah. Because, I mean, Stefan is Rip City is the one who told me about it because he's done that with his phone before and he's done that with other devices and, you know, when they've gotten waterlogged or some shit like that. And now, honestly, it seems like a very clever idea. Because, like, I mean, yeah, it's basically just chemistry. You know, it's just, but it's on a small scale, you know, just happening in a little tub that, you know, will help it out. Which, hey, the only thing I'm wondering is if they'll get rid of like the water residue that's on the inside of the camera right in there, because that's the only thing that's kind of like outside the mic that would be kind of like a sad face thing. But that won't even really be a big deal. It'll just kind of look like there's a slight like schmear or whatever. It'll kind of look like, you know, it's hazy or something, which whatever. I mean, not a big deal, I guess. Just the video quality won't look as good. Oh, now he finally started eating his food. It's similar to using low melt soldering sticks to help remove parts of circuit boards that will have welder with a really high melting point, or solder with a really high melting point. It makes a little bit of low melt shit in the solder joints, and melting point drops way down, and parts fall right out. Nice. That's a clever little trick. You big shelf ball. People's power connectors on their video cards are melting from all the current used. So the popular parts are removed lately, and they solder in there real good. Oh shit. Yeah, I imagine like, you know, especially with like what, you know, some people do with like, you know, I know like crypto mining is a whole fucking thing, and I'm sure that like, you know, fries up a lot of, you know, power connectors and shit. Especially with like gaming and stuff, like, you know, like these new high end video cards have tendencies to fry and stuff like that. That's why I want to, like, you know, when I get my next PC, I definitely want to get one of those, like, more, like, kind of, like, you know, gamer-style PCs or whatever, because I know with Starforge, they, you know, they, you know, got some pretty decent PCs that are, like, kind of meant for, like, high-level gaming or streaming or doing both and shit like that. And the one I'm looking at, it's, like, 2.5K about, somewhere in between there. Like, because you can kind of, you know, get like specific, you know, like models that they get, but you can also, you know, get like more upgrade specs inside of them, you know, depending on how much you want to spend on it. So I'm thinking, you know, I'll probably get like the mid-level one and then just kind of get the mid, like literally the mid of the mids, like, you know, just go with that. Because then, you know, over time I can just eventually upgrade that. But it's already going to have like, you know, it's already going to have a badass, you know, setup. So honestly, I'll be set for a long time. You know, I'll be set for a couple years, you know, with that bad boy. So, you know, if anything, I'll be set for at least like 4 or 5 years at the minimum until I really need to start maybe upgrading. I think get something decent less than that. Well, Starforge does have cheaper options, but if I'm going to get one, I might as well, you know, get one that's like a decent quality one that isn't like, you know, the top shelf, you know what I mean? I mean, you could go on their website and you can kind of see what I mean. You can kind of see like the different, you know, shit that they got and all that. You can kind of see why I want to at least, you know, get one of those, because if I'm doing this and streaming at the same time, I want to at least get something that's gonna be good and all I have to do is just kind of tinker with, software shit like OBS and whatever. So, I mean, because then at that point I don't really have to worry about like, shit maybe being laggy or whatever the fuck. I don't want to have to deal with that. So, I mean, even on like the lower ends, I mean, it would be fine. But it's one of those things. Like I said, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well get something that with a little extra, just for the insurance sake, basically. I actually do realize I do have the link on it still here. Oh, wait, it's probably... Oh, I was going to need internet for that, and I just realized I don't have a SIM card. And I was like, wait, I could probably pull it up on there. But no. It's going to have to try to load the page, and I know it ain't going to work. Or else I would show it really quick. Honestly, I'm still kind of contemplating the idea of having, like, a 2-phone setup, too, but... Yeah, don't do that, I'll hell breaks loose. Yeah. But, yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about, like, maybe doing a 2-phone, like, little thing. Like a personal one just for moi. Because then, let's say the waterlogged phone problem happens again, or something else happens to, that shit. Then at least got a backup. But also at the same time, let's say, like, like maybe, I'm doing like a stream on Instagram or something, or whatever the fuck, and chat with Venom over there or something. Then I can at least have the other phone maybe pull something up and then just like show it on the screen like this or whatever. Be like, oh yeah, here, let me show you this really quick. Oh, and just do that. I mean, even for like streams like this too, even with screen share shit, because maybe I could use that as a way to be like, okay, let me show you a certain thing, but I need to cut something off, and I don't want to risk it sharing it here, right? I can pull it up here, and then just like hide it with like my phone like this, and then just show the relevant parts. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's something for that. Plus, then I could now technically have like a business phone, so to speak. But I'll just have to like ask Metro about that and see what the shindig would be about that. Oh, okay, cool. Split. Man, I really need some tea. I'm just realizing once I'm out of this coffee, I got nothing to drink. That makes me sad. So I'm definitely going to need to acquire me some tea once I go on my lunch break. Because Lord forbid if I buy stuff on a break or whatever the fuck that is on lunch break where I'm clocked off. I'm still always going to poke fun on that type of bullshit, especially just because even my other coworkers are like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, is that even, like, legal? Be like, because it's one thing, obviously, if I were to, like, just go shopping for, like, 30 minutes, while on the clock, right? But, like, when it comes to, like, oh, I'm on my 10-minute break, let me grab, like, a couple things, and, whatever, that's, like, the equivalent of, well, your break. It's like, hey, maybe I want to make sure I got some dog food and a couple other things, then just put in my car, or whatever. It's like, I doubt it. Well, it should be, because that's bullshit. If you're on your break, you're on your fucking break. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know 10/15 minute breaks, those are like, on the clock breaks, but they're still fucking breaks. It's like, unless there's some like serious shit going on or whatever the fuck, where you need to like come back or whatever, that there's no reason for, to be like, oh, no, you can't do this or that. It's like, yeah, so fucking ridiculous. Ugh, man. The salt, dude. Like, now I also just kind of get this mild sense of saltiness when I go up to work now, at this point. And it's all just because of the salt, like, legit, because it's new store director. I was even kind of talking to my mom about it yesterday when I was hanging out with her. And, like, because she was wondering, it's like, so why were you suspended or whatever? And I told her the gist of it. And she's like, and, they were like, wait, really? Like, because she was kind of, like, confused why they did that, considering, like I was, it was an excessive break or whatever, but it was, because I was talking with her, my mom, and she was like, yeah, okay. And it's like, and I even told her, it's like, yeah, I even told my other coworkers about it to make sure that's like, hey, to let them know so they're not just completely screwed. But even then, it was also once we were closed anyway, too, on top of that. So, there's, so it's not like, we have to worry about customers and shit. And it's also not like I didn't, like, leave early or anything. In fact, I kind of clocked off a little after 10, if I remember correctly. So it's not even like that was the problem either. So it's like, what the fuck? Because I even told her, it's like, instead of just talking to me and, understanding the context of the situation a little bit, and asking about that, they just straight basically, sent me in there because they already had it written up, ready to go, so that I could just sign a thing and just send me home, basically. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And I kind of told her the gist of it. And I hope my mom will be right, but she was like saying, it's like, well, because she is new from what you said and all this, like, she kind of has, the sense of like being on the very hard end of the pendulum about it. But hopefully maybe in enough time that will like kind of swing, kind of balance itself a little bit. I'm just like, I hope you're right, but I don't know if a lot of people, including me, are going to be sticking around long enough anymore, to see that. If anything, I actually wouldn't be surprised if, that ends up being the catalyst for maybe something like that, where she realizes, oh, maybe I need to chill the fuck out a little bit. Because honestly, if this shit keeps up, especially for me, because I ain't the only one that's been considering on fucking leaving. Like, there's been a lot of scope about that from, all sorts of different people at that store lately. Not a lot of people, but enough to where if, all the people that I do know about that are considering on leaving, it would just, it would fuck a lot of shit up. And honestly, it would probably be a catalyst for even more people to leave. Because I was even telling some of my coworkers a while back about it. It's like, I know that if I were to leave, or if any, Skittle, or like, especially like us two, I know that like half this apartment's going to be probably fucking gone, because within like less than a month's time, by that point, because, it's no offense to anyone else, but, like there's only really like 4 people in that department that actually do decent fucking cleaning, and I'm one of them. So it's like, shit would get fucked so quick. And I know that a lot of people won't be sticking around for that. Damn, yeah, maybe, yeah. And honestly, that's not anyone but her, frankly. Funny enough, like, my buddy, it's like, ran into the assistant store director and honestly thought he was kind of a chill dude. And I was kind of being like, Bro, he's not. He's also nitpicked my ass about random bullshit. Like, I don't really like him that much either. Maybe as a personal, as one-on-one, like, outside of work, he seems chill, because I've heard he's, like, kind of a gamer, a stoner, and kind of a nerd and shit like that, too, a little bit. And kind of into, like, heavy hard rock music, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. I mean, maybe as a person, he seems chill, but, I mean, I don't know what the fuck it is, but he always likes to nitpick my ass, too. So maybe, honestly, not as hard as the assistant store, or as the main store director, but still, it's... and I bet a lot of it's just because of my tenure there, too, because I've been there probably the longest in that department, outside of maybe, like, one or two other people. And and I think a lot of it's like, oh, well, you've been there the longest, so we expect this of you. It's like, hey, expect how I get paid. So, and we ain't getting really paid shit out here. But luckily, we're going through some new contracts, too. And Fred Meyer's on strike, so our local union's honestly kind of focusing with that right now. But I definitely want to at least try to hit my rep, be like, yo, I know we're going for some new contract shit, but there needs to be some things addressed at the store a little bit. There's also a little union board thing ain't even up, in the fucking in the break room. So it's just like, what the fuck? That's supposed to be in there. Why ain't that in there? So I definitely want to make sure I get a follow about that and be like, hey, that's some red flag shit a little bit. I never want to be me neither. I've honestly have been offered it, for the department, and I'm just like, no. I mean, it's just no. So like, I never will want to do it. It's definitely not something that, is in my forte, honestly. Like, I don't necessarily I don't really mind being like a shift lead, so to speak. Because, a lot of times I pretty much am. So, I mean, I don't really mind that, but, like, I don't really want to be anything above that type of shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I am with that. It's like, I don't really want to be anything above, like, shift lead, and stuff. Especially if I like my coworkers and, we, blend and vibe really well and can get shit done. Then honestly, at a certain point, I don't really need to do like leading shit. Just basically be, just make sure that, like, hey, here's like, some shit, to deal for today. Who wants to do what? All right, cool. Let's get it done. Boom. There's my shift lead of the day. There's my duties as shift lead for that day. Easy peasy shit. It only gets difficult when, you have to like, make sure that people are doing their job. Because I don't like doing that, and I also don't like to be like naggy, and like fucking on people's ass about shit either. So I try to not be that guy either. But it's like, sometimes, man, I've worked with some people where I'm just like, bro, this isn't done. I mean, like, this isn't completely clean or whatever. And it's like, oh, it's not? I'm like, well, not really. You have to kind of get in these spots, this and that. Like, it's like, this, like, no offense, but it's kind of a sloppy job, bro. Not trying to be a dick, but, because I hate being that. But it's like, we'll get chewed out if it's just left like that. So, and that shit's, it's annoying. Luckily, it ain't a problem anymore, but I've definitely had to deal with people like that. Cool. Alright, let's get this entire bowl cashed out before I dip off. But knowing this size of this bad boy, it'll probably need a couple hits. For only a week? Damn. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Oof. I like sniffed, and then just like a whole block of schnozzle just went like all in one swoop, and I was like, bruh, just like what the fuck. But yeah, but anyway, but they're only on strike for only a week. That's kind of a little lame. I've like when it comes to strikes, I've never been a fan of like these limited time strikes where it's like, oh, it's only for a week, oh, it's only for 2 weeks, because then it's just like now like companies basically have like an expectation of how long it's gonna last. So like, oh, okay, we can sit it out. I mean, it's like, oh, it's only a week, okay. I mean, they'll just sit on their laurels and just wait. It's like there shouldn't be like even let's say it is only for a week, that should never be announced. That should just basically be like, like, hey, we'll start for it should only be kind of emphasized this like, hey, we'll start strike for a week, and if shit isn't met with demands or they still haven't come to the table yet, then we're just gonna keep going, until further notice. Just that is like on like cause that to me, would be the best way to fucking go with that shit. Honestly, if it's gonna be a limited strike, because the whole time frame of that should never be discussed, frankly. Like as far as I'm concerned. Because like then now there's this expectation where they could just wait it out. But at least when it comes to the strike, though, I know at least I will have an opportunity maybe to swing by on one of my days off before it ends. I guess maybe add a picket sign to my eventual collection of picket signs. Because there is one near me. So I can just go over there and hang out with him. Ooh. Thanks. Alright. Well, it's about that time now. For my ass to go into the drudgery that is the shit and the grind. But yeah, of course, I'll be back when I get off work and all that fun shenanigans. So at least peace out for now. See y'all on the next one and all that good shit. Blah, 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 blah.